But then I went the opposite, the extreme. I began quitting jobs and starting businesses, trying new things. And then by 2001, I was back in a job again, but I was failing, really. And the pills weren't working anymore. And the verses weren't working anymore. I had too much of life's pain caught up with me, and I couldn't go on. And so the psychiatrist just wrote a note that Vince needs time off, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there. And that was worse, because I thought, okay, I can't go to work, but I can at least work for a buddy's farm and do farm work, right? Wrong, because that's going to impact your long-term disability insurance, right? So here I am backed in the corner. What do you do? Well, I went towards suicide attempts. I made 2 attempts on my life. I was in the Norris Wing about 8 weeks for those 2 attempts. I got out, made a 3rd attempt, which should have worked, and I was miraculously saved. And again in the Norris Wing for a week and a half. Then they shipped me to Hamilton. And then around the 3rd week in Hamilton, I got an idea of what I could do. So I had this idea of where I would create a website with all these inspirational stories on there, And so that's what I did. I had this idea, and I got manic again. And so they knew I was manic, but they thought at least he's not trying to hurt himself, so they let me go. And so the next year and a half or so, I began, learning how to operate websites, and went well. I went after my healing, right? You go to your support groups, you go to your counseling, and anything else that you can learn to get well. And eventually I did pick up some information, and I went back to work for half days for 3 months, and then full days after that. And that job lasted about 8 more months, and then they let go a bunch of people. And so I looked for a job after that, but there weren't any jobs at that point. That was around 2004. And so I took that next year or so to research more how happiness worked, how does peace of mind work. And so I did that, and then I began reaching out to other people. So I started using Google and Yahoo and using pay-per-click advertising, where someone types in Google, maybe they type in suicide, or I hate myself, or God help me, my ad would come up on the right-hand side. And so through email and telephone, I would be speaking to people, listening to their stories, and trying to help them with what I had learned about. And then I found a job in Toronto, and so that's like an hour-and-a-half drive one way. And so I had this awesome cell phone plan. So I was talking to these people, suicidal people, for 3 hours a day, going back and forth to work. And then that job came to an end. And then I got a job for an international engineering company. They had like 4 offices in Toronto alone. And they advertised a Toastmasters, an in-house Toastmasters club there. And I figured, okay, this is the next step. I've helped people with email and with telephone. I'd like to learn how public speaking works, so I can use that. And so I joined the Toastmasters club at work, and within 6 months, they voted me to be president of that club. And then the president of the company asked me to do a presentation before he and his top advisors about the benefits of Toastmasters. And so we did that, and yeah, he was sold on it. He said, I want a Toastmasters club in all of the Toronto offices. And so for the next 10 months, I proceeded to start 3 Toastmasters clubs, and it was exciting. And it's great when you're pushed to the limit, where you feel you can't go any further. No pain, no gain. That's why I like this, because I get to test my peace of mind up here. But that job came to an end about 6 months ago, and I began looking for another job, figuring, okay, I'm going to start a job, and I'm going to offer, I can help them with the Toastmasters Club or something. But the economy is slow, as you know. And so one day I typed in peer support, and I found a job opening in Peel region for someone to oversee people recovering, getting back into the workforce, but you needed to be a consumer survivor, and you had to have education behind you. I didn't have the education. I had the other experience, and so I never got an interview. And so 3 months ago, I figured, okay, I'm going to just start my own. And so I started Peer Support Niagara, and what it is, it's ordinary people who've been through mental health helping other ordinary people. And one of the first things I started was a Toastmasters Club, of course, right? So I named it the Rebounders Toastmasters Club, and it helps people rebound from depression or anxiety. And we have had 12 meetings now over at Start Me Up Niagara. And that's one of them. We have other group formats which are on the table outside there. So getting back to the sermon, it was words that hurt me initially, right? But it was words, positive words, that got me going in the right direction, healed. But it was positive words believed that matured my healing. When you believe those positive words. Once you have a strong belief in something, they can say whatever they want and it's not going to impact you, you know. But that's another sermon. So anyway, thank you very much.
And again, Vince, I want to thank you because you said at one point in your life you would never give a presentation. So you have come a long way in your own personal development, but also receiving the support from the healthcare system, support of your own peers, and the support of your own work. Jesus said, it's not what you eat. The religious leaders at that time were very concerned that people were keeping the kosher laws and the right procedures and doing what they considered to be proper religious practice. And Jesus says, it's not how high up you wash your hands before you eat. It's not the food that you eat, but it's what comes out of your heart. And again, as Chief Broken Lake said, words can kill, but as Jesus said, words can heal. So let's try today to have words of the heart flow, to have healing words and words of encouragement and words that bring together wholeness and words that knit us together into a living presence so that God's love might be revealed, that people who cannot speak can stand here and share their vulnerable story with strangers, knowing that in this place all are welcome, because it's not us